drivers just getting off work right now, Mountain Time. You're done with your Tuesday. Your quick work week is off to a wonderful start, and you got Prater in the ballgame to get you home. Appreciate everybody joining us on our 5 o'clock audience and our video segment, always brought to you by Dollar Loan Center. This is on our social media channels. And by the way, JP, we have 689 YouTube channel subscribers right now to KTIK. Would it be too much to ask if we can get to 700 after this segment? Can we get 11, Michael Forrest Prater?
Absolutely. Let's go for 1,000 before the football season starts.
Okay. That's 1,000 total, not 1,000 starting now.
Yeah.
Oh, I get it. Yeah, what, JP? I wanted
we
to
just want
clear.
11 today.
All right. Well, go subscribe to the KTIK YouTube channel. That'd be really cool. We'd much appreciate it. We're talking college football this hour. We're taking your calls and reading your texts, and we'll play touchdowns for tickets a little later as well. But Prater, there's going to be a lot of things that me and you are going to talk about in relation to college football where it turns into some type of segment revolving reminiscing, right? Oh, remember this or that with the world of college football. And sadly, it looks like it is trending in the direction that one day I'm going to say to you, Prater, remember when college football had walk-ons? Weren't those fun stories being a sports writer? Everybody loved the walk-on story. And it looks like, Prater, they are walking on out of college football.
Let's see how it plays out. A lot of details. There's the two different sides of this walk-on story, and it all evolves back last week from that House versus NCAA lawsuit. And in the final print, they talk about the elimination of scholarships and the implementation of roster caps and the elimination of walk-ons. There's months and months and months of work and debate before this even becomes to fruition. So we don't want to get too carried away and saying that walk-ons are getting, college football is getting rid of walk-ons. But here's the reality of it all. Today, for the first time, every single new SEC program and coach and athletic director, SEC football meetings in Destin, Florida today. And that's all they're talking about. The lead story at ESPN right now. SEC football coaches united in the support to keep walk-ons, even at the SEC level, which lives in a completely different planet than everybody else when it comes to college football here in Boise, Idaho, or every other place of Americana not named SEC. So the SEC is a little bit worried about it, and that's their number one topic of conversation at those meetings today. So this is real, guys. It's all about the ability to satisfy athletic compensation and new models coming up. It's also to prevent from future lawsuits. They don't want the future Brock Forseys to come in and say, I never got the chance to have a scholarship. Everybody's giving me money. I'm going to sue the NCAA because of their archaic rules that said that I had to be a walk-on. When I'm one of the better players on this football team, I'm going to sue your ass. That's what they're trying to avoid. And ball game over these next 2 years, you're 100% right. We're going to have this conversation many, many, many times.
How do you guys feel about it? We'll start with the Cloverdale Plumbing text line, 208-424-9300. Maybe this conversation is going to be a thing of the past too. Maybe you guys listening don't care anymore, but we want to ask you, especially the Boise State fan, how important are walk-ons at Boise State to this program? How big of a buzzkill would this be for you just to say, okay, college football, there you go, taking another thing away from me. What the hell is this sport turning into? I mean, can you still be, Prater, because I look at it, can you still be blue collar and claim all this stuff and be built different? Boise State developmental program. I mean, I feel like you can do a lot of that, but some of it, loses a little the flavor of it when, walk-ons won't be a part of this program anymore. What do you think about that? The importance of walk-ons at Boise State?
Well, that speaks for itself. The importance of walk-ons, Randy Troutman, the greatest walk-on and one of the greatest walk-ons in the history of college football, let alone just Boise State. A wrestler over in Caldwell walks on at Boise State, and the late, great Randy Troutman ends up in the College Football Hall of Fame.
Wow.
Brock Forsey, Leighton Vander Esch. There's so many different things out there nationally. You're looking at Stetson Bennett was a walk-on. Baker Mayfield is the most celebrated walk-on there is out there. J.J. Watt was a walk-on, for crying out loud. He went to Central Michigan, but when he transferred to Wisconsin, he had to walk on. And so there is a history. And I can sit here, Johnny can sit here, JP can sit here, and we can throw out names for the next hour on these great walk-ons. It's important to Boise State. It's important to college football. It's important to the SEC. And just to bring it just one more step closer to home, it's also very important. And here's the one coach we could find talking about it right now publicly. And JP, you've got this clip, Nebraska football coach Matt Rule talking about the loss of college walk-ons to football. And this was just in the last couple of days.
I think it would be awful. I think a lot of things are being kind of said right now. I think we have to kind of wait and see how it ends up, because, that might not happen. But if it does, I think it would be just an awful thing. For every player that ends up with a high-end commercial, there's 100 players that are, becoming better people by having played college football and being part of a team. And those are the people that usually end up, running our country, running our corporations, running our businesses. I mean, we spend all this time talking about what great things college football does. And now if we take it away from a bunch of people, I would really, really, really be sad. And so what I don't want is, I don't want a world in which, because we're playing, 17 games to win the national championship, which I'm all for. I don't want, teams loading up on seniors and juniors only. I don't want high school recruiting to die. I don't want walk-ons to die. This is, at the end of the day, this is still a sport in which most of us that love it, we end up being, old guys like me on the phone right now. And we're only here because of the experiences we had. So I hope that that's not a part of it. I hope that we can have walk-ons. I have a roster of 145 right now. And, I've always had a smaller roster. But when you come to a place like Nebraska, then there are these unbelievable young men on our team that they don't care if they ever play a snap. They want to do everything they can to help Nebraska win. And I'm going to tell you that some of these guys are going to change the world someday. And to think that we're going to take that away from them, there's so many unintended consequences of good things sometimes. So I hope the people that are making these decisions don't forget about access. We need access for young people that really need it.
All right, there's Matt Rule, Nebraska football coach. And when he says he's got 145 on his roster, he doesn't. I mean, it's in transition. The NCAA rule is somewhere between 110 and 120. And that's part of the numbers game that the NCAA is playing right now. Boise State actually has 99 players on its roster before June 1st when everybody starts reporting for summer camp. And that's going to go up to about 110, 115. The NCAA is saying that they're going to go for the cap in terms of 115 to 120, which is what it stands at now. They're going to go to a cap between 85 and 95. And you guys know the magic number is 85 when it comes to scholarships. So they're thinking about as kind of a peace offering. Oh, we're going to give you 10 more scholarships. Now, all of a sudden, you can have 95 players on scholarships, but the roster has to cap at absolutely 95. You can't have 95 and a half. You can't have 96. You can have 95 players, but you have to give every single one of them a scholarship. That's the direction they're headed in, ballgame.
I wonder, yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about that as opposed to, when you bring the walk-on conversation into this whole thing, Prater. And, I mean, Jake Plummer was saying kind of not the same thing Matt Rule was saying, but I loved having Snake on an hour ago talking about, walk-ons, they really care. It means everything to them just to be on the team and bust their butt in practice and make you better. And Snake was saying, like, they're scholarship players. I mean, or throw them on the practice squad or whatever. They're going to act like they're on the practice squad, and you're not going to get a good look. They're going to, bring an attitude with them or whatnot. And Snake was saying that they don't get that from walk-ons. Now, are you saying that the future is, okay, you got 95 players, but you got to pay for every one of them? Do you see them maybe, because I'm trying to think how they could fix this. Like, could they say, okay, you got the roster of 90 and then you have 10 walk-on spots? Is there a way they can figure a way to do this and keep that part of college football going? I was surprised that the SEC coaches are standing up for walk-ons. That is great to see for college football, Prater, because those guys probably don't have a lot that actually make significant contributions on their team, but who knows? Maybe there's a few.
Yeah, but every team, even Alabama's got walk-ons. They all have walk-ons. They've all started with small schools. In many cases, maybe some of these coaches were walk-ons. Everybody understands the importance and the tradition and the history and the nostalgia and the romance of walk-on football players. So, it's a little surprising that the SEC, that was the headline coming out of the SEC meetings today. But To answer your question, we don't know the answer to that. And that's where there's a little bit of hope. There's a little bit of hope over these next 6 to 12 to 18 months. And by the way, we did reach out twice for Spencer Danielson, asking for 5 minutes just on the importance of the walk-ons at Boise State and the history. Spencer Danielson couldn't have a press conference and not mention the word developmental program. It's his favorite phrase. We're a developmental program. Hell, even the NFL has a practice squad with 16 players. That's their developmental squad. You're telling me that all of a sudden college football can't have a developmental squad, a developmental program? I think cooler heads will prevail one day, and they're going to try to get this. But we all know that the NCAA right now is the most powerful entity in sports, because it lost all of its power. And now everybody is worried about them because they're so afraid. They're so worried that they think they're going to the extreme of doing everything that they possibly can not to be sued. They wake up every morning with the antithesis of sports. They wake up every morning scared, as opposed to being competitive and bold and confident and going out there and competing in the world. The NCAA wakes up every single morning scared, and they come up with some kind of a rule that says we have to do something. Oh, we can't have walk-ons anymore because they're going to sue us, because that's the power that student athletes have right now. So the NIL, when it was introduced in the summer of 2021, changed everything beyond we could ever possibly imagine. Boise State hired a new athletic director today, not the athletic director, an assistant athletic director. Guess what his number one job is going to be?
What?
Name, image, and likeness. Joe Nichols at Boise State, the collective, the Boise State Horseshoe Collective. This could mean the death of collectives as well, depending on how it all shakes out. So I think there's a lot of people really worried. Walk-ons should be worried. Collectives should be worried. Now, the best part here is over these next year and a half, when they try to figure out these details, they're giving campuses a lot of leeway to rule however that they want. Do they want to do this? Do they want to do that? There's a lot of leeway out there, but eventually there's going to be some rules, and they're going to have to live by it. And I can't imagine living in a world without walk-ons.
Yeah, Randy Troutman was a walk-on, huh? Caldwell High.
I never went and looked at the confirmation, but that was always the story. Walked on as a wrestler from Caldwell High, and next thing you know, he's winning national championships and going into the College Football Hall of Fame.
Do you guys have a favorite walk-on or walk-on story, Bronco Nation, at 208-424-9300? We'll take calls at the front of the line. Texts are cool as well. And just, Prater, we got to ask our listeners, how important are walk-ons at Boise State football? And where is the importance there? Can you still be blue-collar if they eliminate the walk-on from college football? Let's light it up. 208-424-9300 on Prater and the Ballgame. Shout out to Dollar Loan Center for our video segment. You can apply for a loan by visiting don'tbebroke.com on Prater and the Ballgame.
From the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Studios, this is Ticket Traffic.